Indianapolis for the Big Ten men's basketball tournament. Game 2 on BTN. And as we move to the second half, anybody's ball game. 3-point game. Ohio State leading 30-27 at halftime. Alongside Stephen Bardo, I'm Kevin Kugler. 20 minutes to go. The 5 seed or the 12 seed could pull this one out.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the game is so close because Purdue is getting blasted on the glass. Ohio State has 11 offensive rebounds, and that's what's gotten them this lead in spite of them shooting poorly.
Auto Owners Insurance game leaders, and we look to the backcourt for the game leaders.
Talk about Aaron Craft, and he was very aggressive in the first half when the rest of his teammates struggled to score the basketball. See him with 8 points. And Ronnie Johnson came back off the bench with 2 personal fouls and was still effective in looking for his own shot.
Thad Matta's troops with the 3-point lead as we get ready to start this second half here. The winner advances to play Nebraska tomorrow afternoon. And the loser will go home and await their fate. For Purdue, likely the end of the year. And for Ohio State, a trip to the NCAA tournament in the offing following this one. Let's check in once more with Stephanie White, who chatted with Matt Painter. Steph?
Yeah, guys, you mentioned it. Matt Painter talking about his team's ability to rebound the basketball. He said it's the one thing that we've done well all season long. Allowing them those 11 offensive rebounds not only gives them second chance points, but opportunities to score on the offensive end. He said they're not going to continue to miss those shots. He also wants on the offensive end his team to be much more aggressive and strong at the rim. They had opportunities, he felt like, to score at the rim, and they got to be stronger with the ball.
And a whistle and a travel against A.J. Hammond starting off the second half with a turnover. One thing that has to be a good sign for Purdue, over the last 11 games, Stephen, they were allowing an average of 76 points per game. Certainly defensively clamping down a little bit more on Ohio State than they have been of late.
Yeah, doing a good job against Ohio State and limiting them because Ohio State's only 1 of 8 from 3.
Williams with the offensive rebound, and Williams lost it. Stevens able to take it away. Numbers for Purdue, 4-on-2 Johnson. The dish to Davis. His shot pinned by LaQuinton Ross. And then a foul is called.
Well, you can tell that Tyrone Johnson is a scorer because that was a 4-on-1 fast break. And they didn't come up with a layup. He's just going right to the bucket and then will make a pass at the last second. That's a poor offensive possession, and that's a blown opportunity for the Boilermakers.
Second chance after the foul. Can they make them pay with Stevens? A long 3, no good. Rebound by Rayfeld Davis. Another opportunity for Purdue. And tipped and taken away. Smith with the steal for Ohio State.
Again, you got to watch Ohio State. They are opportunistic on the perimeter.
And then a block by Hammonds on the other end. Davis saves it. Colliding into the table. Johnson to the other end. And Ronnie Johnson's shot is good, and a foul.
Rayfeld Davis took out a couple players, people on the sideline, and got a drink spilled on him and everything, but his effort was rewarded. On after the ball there and leaving it all on the floor, Rayfeld Davis.
Literally all on the floor. It all left the table and hit the floor.
Hey, but you know what? That's the type of effort that was missing this season on a consistent basis by the Boilermakers. Good job by Rayfeld Davis.
And I'm glad he's okay. He hit that table awfully hard. And then on the other end, Purdue able to take advantage even without numbers. It's like a shorthanded goal.
Yeah, Ronnie Johnson determined to get to the rim, able to finish.
And we're tied at 30. 1 minute, 7 seconds into this second half.
Typically, the most important stretch of the game is the first 5 minutes of the second half. Let's see who can establish themselves during this period.
7th tie of this ball game. Thompson around the curl, able to splash that 2 home, and Sam Thompson gives Ohio State the lead.
Just taking advantage of the freshman Kendall Stevens. You can tell defensively, Bryson Scott, Kendall Stevens, they just struggle with defensive concepts.
Tyrone Johnson, pushing to his brother, almost lost it. .15 to shoot for Johnson. Ronnie Johnson against Kraft, going to work, forcing it up, and it was blocked by Amir Williams. Johnson gets it back. Off the window it won't go. And the rebound poked out to Ohio State, 3-on-2. Ross on the drive with a left hand. His own rebound, missing again. And that's knocked out of bounds by Purdue. It'll stay with Ohio State.
Well, Quentin Ross, a little frustrated that time, had 2 point-blank attempts. And at 6'8", you'd expect him to finish. Just came up short.
3 for 11 from the floor for Quentin Ross. Ross against Davis, going to work. And that one, the most difficult shot that he had on that trip down the floor, and he made it go down.
Yeah, sometimes scorers like it hard. they don't make necessarily an easy bucket. They make the more difficult one.
Johnson to Hammonds. Amir Williams rips it out of his hands. Davis inside, found Johnson somehow, and Tyrone Johnson gets the 2.
You've seen those two hook up frequently throughout the regular season. Good job of sticking with the play.
Thompson into the post to Ross against Ronnie Johnson. Bounce pass in traffic taken away. Johnson to Johnson for 3. And Tyrone Johnson drains the 3. Purdue takes the lead.
Well, Purdue playing like they have nothing to lose. Right here on the offensive set, you know that Ronnie Johnson knows where his brother is in any situation.
Smith on the attack, and a foul is going to be called on Tyrone Johnson. Tyrone Johnson with his 2nd personal foul, but a big 3 on the other end.
And Ronnie Johnson surrounded by 3 Ohio State defenders, but he knows where his brother is. Because his older brother will say, hey, young fella, if you don't give me the ball, it's going to be, you're going to have something you have to pay for when we get home.
And you mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. Purdue with a clean slate, nothing to lose in this game. They're playing like it right now as Kraft's jumper rebounded by Tyrone Johnson.
And they really have to take advantage of this momentum that they have, because Ohio State won't be missing these shots all second half.
Johnson can't get it to roll down, but a foul. And Tyrone Johnson will go to the line after the foul on Aaron Kraft. That'll be his 2nd. Team foul number 3 on the Buckeyes, and Tyrone Johnson, first free throw attempts today.
This is an area where Tyrone Johnson has struggled all his career.
Just a 59% shooter this year, 55% in his career as you look at the numbers by season. The 6th lowest active career free throw percentage in the nation at 55%, and right in that range, he goes 1 for 2.
Well, and with a score of his ability and his ability to draw fouls, I mean, you would think at this point in his career he'd figure that out. Whatever it is, whether it's a lack of confidence, I think his form is fine. You know, he's able to knock down jumpers, so he should be able to shoot free throws. Just has eluded him all his career.
He's leaving a lot of points on the table. Ross trying to drive against Stevens. A lot of contact in there. Ross able to keep it alive. Ross spinning to the basket. Gets the hoop and the foul. Hammonds with the foul, his 2nd, and a timeout on the floor.
Well, Purdue has not had these kind of plays all season long. Rayfield Davis doing everything he can for the Boilermakers.
Kevin Kugler, Stephen Bardo, Stephanie White from Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Tie game, 15:56 to play in the 2nd half. LaQuinton Ross completing the 3-point play to give Ohio State the 1-point lead.
I like this pressure here by Ohio State.
Let's check in once more with Stephanie White. Steph?
Yeah, guys, Coach Mata really imploring his team from an energy standpoint. He doesn't like the fact that they've given up points in the paint and transition buckets. Really wants them to turn it up a notch on the defensive end. He's saying, I don't want to go home today. I know you guys don't either. Let's get back to Ohio State basketball.
Smith picking up his foul a moment ago. His 2nd as Johnson on the penetration. Hammonds couldn't corral it initially, and then it's blocked by Amir Williams. The bounce from Johnson to Davis, and Davis able to put it in and get Purdue the lead.
Hey, man, Purdue is bringing the effort here in the 2nd half. I got to tip my hat to them. They are matching Ohio State's intensity on both ends of the floor.
8 ties, 8 lead changes in this 5-12 matchup. And a tip by Stevens and a foul coming over the back against Thompson. And the Purdue fans starting to make a little noise as Thompson gets his third.
Aaron Kraft throwing kind of a lazy pass out there. Uncharacteristically of him. You see that kind of lackadaisical approach. A little surprising there.
Now Purdue will inbound after Thompson sits down on the bench.
Boy, Thad Matta has spent more time in the referee's ears than he has coaching his own team.
Gene Steratore just had a long conversation. Johnson to Ronnie Johnson, couldn't handle the pass and a turnover. Scott running the break all the way coast to coast. Can't get it to go. Hammond's flying in for the rebound. And then a travel. Hammond's had Johnson behind him, but I don't think he saw Ronnie Johnson. Tried to get up and go, but he couldn't.
Yeah, Ronnie Johnson looked like he lost his footing and fell. And Hammond's had no one to outlet the pass to, but remember what I said about the Piranhas? Ohio State, man, they recognize an opportunity. Big fella wants to put it on the deck. He's going to force a turnover.
Smotherman back in for Purdue. Rayfeld Davis to the bench.
Basil's first name could be like Pork Chop, Smotherman, you know? That's something. But I love his name, man. That's all first team. Name team in Big Ten.
Kraft on the penetration and the tip, it rolls in. Looked like Kraft's shot rolled before Williams was able to get there. And now an injured player for Purdue, and that's Basil Smotherman grabbing that right knee.
And I hope by his response, it's a banged kneecap. It's not serious, but boy, it's intense pain in that first minute or half. Let's hope that's what it is, because he went down immediately. See the drive, and Kraft loses his balance right there. Oh, man. Yeah. That one made my knee hurt, just looking at it. I don't like the way that buckled in the back.
Williams with the tip, and then it was Kraft who, in the midst of trying to get out of the way, banged into that kneecap. Basil Smotherman. Obvious pain for Basil Smotherman as he's helped up and making his way toward the Purdue bench.
Well, where are the Purdue teammates helping him get off the floor? I mean, this guy can barely walk. He's in tears because he's obviously in a lot of pain, but no one on Purdue's bench up to help their teammate out.
Now here they make their way over after the huddle, and Rayfeld Davis the first to get over there with him.
I mean, he's in a lot of pain, trying not to put any pressure on that knee.
Well, this has been a storyline for Purdue late in the season. Sterling Carter, who was playing very well, had the ACL tear. Jay Simpson, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is the HCM. It's the heart condition that has ended his career. Jay Simpson's career done after the heart condition where he went down at Nebraska. And his career is over. A young man that was going to be a big part of the future of Purdue basketball.
Well, I thought he was a future NBA player in terms of his skill set, his size, his ability to score, his footwork. He was a very promising young player. Just very fortunate that they caught the ailment before it may have cost him his life.
Johnson on the drive. The dish to Hammonds, and a two-handed step gives Purdue the lead once more.
Hey, Ronnie Johnson's been balling this afternoon. He has really been aggressive, getting into the paint. I've seen him have games where he's forcing the issue. Today, he's letting the game come to him.
Ross. Scott with 15 to shoot. Now 8 on the shot clock for Kraft. Kraft with the pull-up 3 on the shot clock, no good. Peck the rebound for Purdue.
Pretty good defensive possession, forcing an outside jumper.
And then Ronnie Johnson has it knocked out of his hands, but out of bounds off Ohio State. Lenzel Smith Jr. got that one thrown off with the first contact with the basketball.
Yeah, and those active hands, once again, when you're driving through traffic against Ohio State, you have to be very strong with the rock.
Kendall Stevens, the pull-up, an air ball from the free throw line. Caught underneath, and Smith the other way.
Right now, if you're Ohio State, I got to get the ball with Quentin Ross. Give him some space and let him create.
And Ross, the foul on Eric Peck. Peck with his first, or his second rather, third team foul whistled against Purdue.
Ohio State, they really concentrate on getting the opposing team into foul trouble so they can get into the bonus the rest of the way in the first half. But today, Ohio State struggling from the line, only 7 of 13 thus far.
Kraft needs to get it inbound. Needs to get it in quickly. Ross will have to track it all the way down. Ohio State down 1. Shooting just 33% from the floor in this ball game. Going to work inside, muscling it up through all kinds of defenders. Kendall Stevens, the first one there, and then a little push afterwards between Amir Williams and Rayfeld Davis.
And I'm glad they didn't. Mike Sanzier, veteran officials, calling the two players together. Tell them to cut it out or I'll call a double foul on you. Watch these guys get tangled up, and this is well after the play. But I like that. This is Big Ten conference tournament time. There's going to be some emotions. There's going to be guys flaring up. That's no harm, no foul.
Ross free throw good. Ross with a double-double, 12 points, 11 rebounds.
Bringing his A game. And expect to see a heavy dose of him coming down the stretch. No one else on Ohio State right now having any success in the offensive end.
Heavy dose of Quentin Ross is not a bad prescription for victory.
All right about that.
Johnson feeds inside Eric Peck against Ross, and Ross with good defense knocks it away, but a second chance all alone. Ronnie Johnson's three. No good. Tipped over to Peck, and Peck gets it put back in. Give A.J. Hammonds the assist on the tip.
Yeah, A.J. Hammonds was fortunate, though. It looked like he was almost over the back, but the big fella rewarded for his effort.
Smith, three. Balling out, Hammonds the rebound. 7 boards for Hammonds in this game. Johnson on the attack. Blocked shot by McDonald. Tipped up in the air. Scott trying to keep it alive out of bounds to Purdue as we check in with Stephanie White.
Yeah, guys, Basil Smotherman coming back on the bench, being stretched out behind the bench now. They said he just banged his knee. He's going to attempt to go here in the second half.
Well, that is great news. And that was what you were hoping for, Stephen, was that it was just a banged kneecap. Very painful, but not something that is particularly long-lasting, you hope.
Yeah, it will last a couple minutes, and that pain is excruciating at first. But once it dies down and you can see him bending the knee with, it looks like relatively easily, it's a great sign.
Davis curling inside, banging into Della Valle, and a block is called against Amadeo Della Valle, and a timeout on the floor. 11:53 remaining in the second half. Today's Reese's Perfect Combination, the two brothers, 19 points, 8 for 15 shooting, much to the delight of Purdue fans, and certainly much to the delight of Matt Painter and their former high school coach, Doug Mitchell, North Central High School here in Indianapolis. Happy to see his two young proteges doing very well here in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, because it hasn't been a season full of ups. It's been more downs for Purdue, but they put themselves in really good position here in the second half.
Rayfeld Davis hits the free throw. He has been so good at the line the last several games. Came in 31 of 35 in the last 7 games at the charity stripe. Has the average up to 77%. Hits these two here.
He's taking care of business. They're called free for a reason.
7 for 10, Purdue at the line. Ohio State 10 of 16. Kraft. crossover got right past Johnson, and the reverse layup is good. Johnson turned his eyes away for a moment, Stephen, and Kraft took advantage.
And Kraft can sense when a defender stands straight up, is not paying attention, and he's so quick on his attack.
Johnson. Back out to Tyrone Johnson. Here's Davis. 15 to shoot for Ronnie Johnson. Scott shadowing him. Ronnie Johnson's got to get rid of it. Tyrone Johnson with 8 to shoot. Kraft backing him up. 3 to shoot, 2 to shoot. Tyrone Johnson has to launch, and that is not going to connect with the rim. A shot clock violation. Great defense again by Ohio State.
Just hanging their hat on the defensive end, but let's go back and look. Defensively, watch Ronnie's head. Right there, he's looking at this direction. Kraft takes advantage, goes right past him. Nice recognition by Aaron Kraft.
Ross driving inside, and Ross gets the back end of the rim and knocks it down. 45-44. Buckeyes back in front, 15 for LaQuinton Ross.
He is so long and unorthodox. And the way he leaves, he can jump off the wrong foot. He's got an assortment of ways to finish around the bucket.
Davis, the lob inside to Hammonds. Nice catch in traffic and a better finish for A.J. Hammonds. He's got 10 points now, and Hammonds 10 points, 6 rebounds, and Purdue by 1.
A nice balance this afternoon have the Boilers in terms of perimeter scoring and getting the ball to Hammonds.
The ball knocked away and taken away. Peck with the steal. Peck on the drive. Pass Kraft for 2.
Man, Eric Peck knew he had to be strong with the basketball. Step through, comes through on the layup. Purdue hanging in here with the 3-point lead.
Peck's got 6 in 11 minutes. Ross. Trying to back down Peck. Kraft, 15 to shoot, driving it inside. Can't get the roll. Rebound in the corner. Ronnie Johnson for the Boilermakers.
A.J. Hammonds won't get credit for that block.
And that's going to be a foul on Ronnie Johnson, using the off arm to try to get rid of LaQuinton Ross. And Ronnie Johnson with his 3rd.
And Ronnie Johnson getting frustrated because he's felt hands from Ohio State on him all afternoon. And that was just too easy for the officials to call.
We've got a little bit of debris on the floor. So we're going to bring out the broom to sweep things up. In comes Bryson Scott. Out goes Ronnie Johnson.
Well, you hate that when you're a guard and you make a play like that and then you come right out of the game. Just not a good feeling going back to that bench.
Scott to the basket. Scott off the window. And Ohio State back within 1.
That's a big-time finish where Hammonds is right there. And he's changed a lot of shots here this afternoon, but Scott, really nice off glass.
Good time for his first bucket of the ball game. Rayfeld Davis against Della Valle. 3 defenders collide. Shot is blocked, but a travel. Trey McDonald standing strong at the back end of that Ohio State defense.
Now, and Rayfeld Davis got a little greedy that time, recognizing Della Valle was on him, but you got to allow yourself to get better position. He went to the teeth of the defense, and McDonald was able to make the play.
12 turnovers apiece. Scott with a crossover. Ross for 3. And Davis the rebound. 1 for 10 are the Buckeyes from 3 this afternoon.
I'm not sure LaQuinton Ross knew how far he was off the college line. That was more like an NBA 3.
Back inside to Hammonds, and a blocking foul is called on Della Valle. Count the bucket and the foul. Officials are going to confer now. Will this bucket count?
Gene Steratore is telling them, even though we're in the NBA building, that's the foul right there. He had not gone into his shooting motion. I think they will disallow the bucket. Now, there's the contact and the foul right there.
They're going to count the bucket after the conversation, and Hammonds is going to go to the line for a three-point play. Thad Matta shaking his head after that one.
Wow. Take another look. The contact is right there. He's not into a shooting motion yet, but he gets a good break. A.J. Hammonds. Nice fundamentals, keeping the ball high and going right up after the contact.
Hammonds with 12, and he goes to the line for the first time today.
I've been impressed with A.J. Hammonds. He hasn't been in foul trouble. He's been going after the shots, so he's been changing shots on the defensive end, and he's been patient even though he hasn't gotten the ball a ton this afternoon.
6 for 11 from the floor for A.J. Hammonds. 4-point lead for Purdue, 51-47. Kraft around the Ross screen with 18 to shoot. Now Kraft to work again. Kraft to the rim. Kraft with the bucket. Kraft with the chance to go to the line for a three-point play. The foul on Hammonds, that is his third, and a timeout on the floor. Ohio State's done the last 5 trips to the tourney.
Have been very consistent and found a very good formula for taking advantage of this weekend sprint. And they've done, you see the results right there, have been fantastic the last 5 years.
You see the record all time and under Thad Matta, 19-5. They've won 18 of their last 22 games in this tournament. Last year defeating Wisconsin in the title game. Free throw is good to complete the three-point play for Aaron Kraft in a one-point ball game. Purdue up 51-50. Tyrone Johnson feeding Hammonds against Williams. Hammonds, double team comes, and the pass tipped by Scott into the backcourt. 15 to shoot for Ronnie Johnson. Johnson, a little crossover. Nice catch by Davis to save it. 6 to shoot. Johnson from the elbow. Rebound tipped in the air, and Tyrone Johnson comes up with it in the corner.
Great hustle by Johnson. Didn't appear to have a beat on that ball.
And Johnson called for the charge. Ronnie Johnson's 4th personal foul. And 2 on the offensive end over the last 3 minutes.
He's getting a little bit of frustration building with Ronnie. These guys are starting to read what he's trying to do. That's just great position defensively by Shannon Scott.
So he sits down at the 7:16 mark in the second half with his team up 1.
And they're going to give Bryson Scott, he's going to see a tremendous amount of ball pressure when he gets the basketball.
Ronnie Johnson went out in the first half in foul trouble. Tyrone Johnson stepped things up a little bit. Do you have to look at him again if you're Purdue?
Oh, for sure. He and A.J. Hammonds on the offensive end.
Ross inside, and traffic muscles it up, and Ohio State's back up by 1. 17 for LaQuinton Ross.
Ohio State knowing where their bread is buttered on that end of the floor, making sure that Ross is getting ample touches.
Scott's floater well short, saved by Williams to Ohio State. Kraft going all the way in. Kraft for 2. Buckeyes by 3, and a timeout taken by Purdue. So the substitution for Purdue, Scott leaves, and now the backcourt is Tyrone Johnson along with Kendall Stevens, Rayfeld Davis, and Eric Peck. And then the inbound nearly taken away by Kraft with 6:26 to go.
So right now, Tyrone Johnson's going to have to be the point guard. But they're having a hard time getting him the basketball. If A.J. Hammonds would just turn, the guy didn't that time, but A.J. Hammonds turn, get it to him, and then let him get it to Tyrone Johnson.
Now where did the points come from for Purdue? Down by 3, Ronnie Johnson on the bench. Tyrone Johnson with 19 on the shot clock. Stevens off a screen for 3. Banks it home. Kendall Stevens using the window to tie it at 54.
See, this might be Purdue's day. When you see a shot like that go in, that's under duress, sometimes that's an indication that Purdue, it just might be their afternoon here.
Thompson back to Kraft, wide open for three. And the rebound to Raphael Davis.
Oh, what a pass by Davis.
Johnson cannot corral it, though, goes tumbling into the cheerleaders. Ross on the attack, poked away by Stevens. Kraft, the dish to Smith. Can't get the roll. Williams for the rebound, and Williams is fouled.
That's a terrible call. That one right there. I don't like pointing out the officials, but that was a bad call right there.
I think Matt Painter would agree. Number 4 on Hammonds.
Kendall Stevens, he'll swear that he meant to go off glass on this one, especially when they go to film session after the game. Boy, Ohio State got a break on that one.
And now Amir Williams to the line after that 4th foul on A.J. Hammonds. So 4 on Hammonds, 4 on Ronnie Johnson, and Williams can't hit the free throw.
Well, the ball don't lie on free throws. Watch this right here. A.J. Hammonds, he didn't even jump. He just kept his arm straight up.
Matt Painter thought it should be a jump ball. Would have kept the possession with Ohio State, but would not have been the 4th foul on his big man. 1-point Buckeye lead. Back in now, Ronnie Johnson. 5:20 to go.
You watch how much Kraft will harass him.
Johnson and Hammonds both playing with 4. Tyrone Johnson, a whistle and a foul. Lenzel Smith Jr. with the personal, his 3rd. It is the 8th team foul against the Buckeyes. So some free throws to be shot.
It's going to be a theme that we're going to see down the stretch. I doubt we're going to see many jump shots. Both teams really going to try to get to the line.
Tyrone Johnson continuing his career-long struggles at the foul line. Big front-end miss there.
Now, in the first game between Illinois and Indiana, we saw Vonleh miss the front end of a 1-and-1 about the same time of the game. Let's see if that comes back to haunt Purdue.
Smith back out to Kraft, 15 to shoot. Kraft will back it up. Guarded by Ronnie Johnson with those 4 fouls. 8 to shoot. Here's Ross. 4 on the shot clock. Working against Tyrone Johnson. Lead it inside. Tip try by Ross won't go. And there's Hammonds, a strong rebound.
We call that grown man sprint. A.J. Hammonds going in traffic, coming up with a big one.
Aggressive with those 4 fouls. Ronnie Johnson trying to work against Kraft. Gets picked off by a Hammonds screen. And then the dunk down taken away. Smith, the lob ahead to Ross. Ross to the basket, lays it in. And the Buckeyes lead is 3.
Boy, Ohio State does it as well as anyone in this conference, Kevin. Taking a turnover and pushing up and getting an easy bucket.
Back inside through the hands of Tyrone Johnson. A turnover again for Purdue. And the Boilermakers trying to hang around. But Ohio State pulling away by 3. Today's Quicken Loans amazing performance. LaQuinton Ross, and he's really turned it on in the second half.
He really has, and he hasn't settled for jump shots. You haven't seen him shoot a lot of jumpers, but he's been determined to get near the basket. He's got a height advantage over any Purdue defender, and he's really been geared at getting to the rim.
And the only time the lowest seed has won a first-round game came back in 1999. That's when the lowest potential seed was an 11. Illinois beat Minnesota in 1999. Since Nebraska joined the Big Ten and made it a 12-team league, 12 seeds never won a game in the Big Ten tournament. That's just been 2 years, and now this year, the 3rd.
Yeah, you look at Purdue right now, and you wonder how they're only down 3. 11 second-half turnovers. They've given up 19 offensive rebounds, and yet they're only down 3 points.
And against a team with such a rich tradition of success in this Big Ten tournament. Championship game the last 5 years. Kraft backs it out now with 15 on the shot clock. 3-point lead for the Buckeyes. Kraft, the alley-oop. Sam Thompson crashing through for the 2 and a 5-point Buckeye lead.
Well, you talk about a timely play, taking advantage of Kendall Stevens, stood straight up on the offensive end, and Sam Thompson made him pay.
Johnson inside, had it knocked away, blocked by Williams, and Amir Williams with a huge defensive play.
Kraft got his hands on the initial shot. Johnson able to get it back, but Amir Williams, defensive stalwart in the paint. Exact same play Ohio State ran last time. Except Jerome Johnson did a good job of keeping Lenzel Smith away from that screen.
Kraft for three. Hammonds the rebound. Purdue's got to find some offense, though, down by 5.
Well, they don't need to rush, so they've got plenty of time. Run their stuff, get A.J. Hammonds on the block, let him get an opportunity to touch the basketball.
Jerome Johnson to Peck, and now to Ronnie Johnson with 15 to shoot. Stevens inside, drew the contact, can't get the three-point play, but Stevens will go to the line.
Nice adjustments by Kendall Stevens, typically catch and shoot player. Recognized his defender was trailing and out of position. Nice job by Kendall Stevens going to the rack.
Williams with his third. 9th team foul on the Buckeyes. Stevens at the line where he's 3 for 3 today.
If I'm Purdue right now, I would try to throw a little bit of a wrinkle on the defensive end. I may try to run and jump, trap on the perimeter just to do a little something because they're falling back, and Ohio State's in a pretty good rhythm offensively right now. Purdue's got to do something to stop that.
Davis in, Stevens out with 10 points.
If I'm Ohio State, I go right back to LaQuinton Ross.
19 points, 14 rebounds for Ross. Kraft walks it up, 2 minutes to go here in Indy. Thompson wanted Ross, couldn't get it to him, and now tries the backside to Williams. 15 on the shot clock for the Buckeyes. Kraft off the dribble, all the way to the rim. Can't get it. Rebound Davis. Now the push by Ronnie Johnson. Accelerating past Sam Thompson for 2, and it's a 1-point game.
Nice job by Ronnie Thompson, taking away the shot blocking ability of Sam Thompson by going right through his chest.
Timeout, Ohio State, 1:26 to go. And the Buckeyes lead is 59-58. Both have been playing with 4 for about the last 4 minutes of game action. 1-point game. 20 to shoot for Ohio State. Here's Ross. Looking for Williams. Can't get it there with Hammonds in front. Kraft with 8 on the shot clock. Throws up a wild shot. Hammonds with a rebound. Poked away and taken away by the Big Ten's all-time steals leader, Aaron Kraft gets another.
Wherever he is lurking, you have got to pay attention. Great job by Kraft coming from the weak side to get yet another possession, a critical possession for Ohio State.
And a timeout taken by Thad Matta. His team up by 1.
He's lurking, boom. Big man doesn't see him, comes right up with the steal. We've seen that time and time again.
Our Motel 6 sixth man, Eric Peck, 6 points, 3 rebounds. The senior from Indy off the bench and has provided a big spark. Ohio State trying to find some offense. It's been almost 3 minutes since they scored. Ross. Smith now with 10 on the shot clock to Kraft. 7 to shoot. Kraft to work. Here's Thompson for 3. Rebound tipped up, and a foul is called underneath. The battle between Lenzel Smith and Eric Peck, and Peck picks up the personal.
When you shoot a three-point shot, you have long rebounds that carry them off. That one came off a little long, and Eric Peck didn't like the call. Pretty obvious, though. Good job by Lenzel Smith in his pursuit of the basketball.
1-1 for Lenzel Smith Jr. 1 point away from his 1,000th career point. And he's got 1,000 points in his career. Big Ten finale presented by Reese's after the game. Our guys will break down what we've done so far in this tournament with highlights and analysis, plus what's straight ahead coming up after the game on BTN. 51st player in a Buckeye uniform with 1,000 or more career points. 1,001, a pretty big point as well, as it's a 3-point lead for the Buckeyes.
For sure. And Purdue really doesn't have any 3-point shooting on the floor besides Kendall Stevens.
Tyrone Johnson working it inside to Hammonds. Hammonds in a lot of traffic, muscles it up and in, and a timeout taken by Purdue. Buckeyes thought Hammonds took extra steps to get to that point, but a 1-point game with 18 seconds to go.
I would give my players 3 to 4 seconds to come up with a trap and see if they can come up with a steal. If they don't get it in that time frame, Kevin, foul the player.
Stevens guarding the inbound. Kraft bouncing into Smith. Back to Kraft. No foul has occurred yet, and there's the foul with 14.5 seconds to go, and Kraft going to the line where he's 3 for 4 today. 10 ties in this game, 15 lead changes. It's been nip and tuck the entire way, and Kraft now trying to extend to a 3-point lead with 2 shots. 2 for both teams the rest of the way. See, these are the 2 worst free throw shooting teams in the Big Ten Conference, but Kraft good on that one. Now Hammonds in.
The level of Kraft's concentration at the end of games is incredible. He may struggle offensively, but you can count on him down the stretch. 16
points, one of his best point productions of the season. 18 against Ohio, his high, and a timeout. The 3rd year that a 12 seed has been a part of the Big Ten tournament. 16 for Kraft, 75% on the year at the line. And the rebound to Johnson. 2-point deficit facing Purdue. Tyrone Johnson taken away by Lenzel Smith. They've got a foul, and they do with 5.1 seconds to go. And Purdue fumbling away a huge opportunity here in Indy.
And that's been Purdue's season. That play sums up everything right there. Having an opportunity to go in for the tie or possibly the lead, and the brothers can't do a simple dribble exchange. Good defensive pressure by Lenzel Smith, but if you're Tyrone Johnson, you've got to secure that basketball.
So now Smith with a chance to ice this one. 2 free throws here, make it a 2-possession game. 5.1 seconds to go. Lenzel Smith Jr. 3 for 4 at the line. Tyrone Johnson done after picking up that foul. So Johnson sits down. That may be all she wrote for the seniors. Some confusion as to whether or not it was 4 on Johnson or 5 on Johnson. Now they're saying it's the 4th foul, so Johnson does not have to leave. The scorer's table had asked him to leave, and now I believe they're correcting themselves and saying no, he does not have to leave. So there's a lot of confusion going on right now as to how many fouls Tyrone Johnson has. Kind of an important little number to know for one of your leaders on the floor. With 5.1 seconds to go, hoping that Lenzel Smith Jr. misses one of these 2 free throws. And he does. There's life for the Boilermakers. No timeouts left for Purdue. 3-point ball game. Substitution. Williams will leave for Ohio State. They'll set their defense. Will the Buckeyes? 5.1 seconds to go. Ronnie Johnson is fouled by Shannon Scott. 2 free throws with 2.8 seconds to go. No chance to shoot the 3.
Yeah, you can tell the Buckeyes have practiced that before. You don't want to get in a game situation and make that call, and your guys aren't used to making that play. Good job by Shannon Scott. Ronnie Johnson trying to get ahead of steam up, and see Shannon Scott out with the foul. Good job. Knowing that's exactly what he wanted from his team.
Not going to let Purdue attempt the game-tying 3. Johnson with one free throw down, gets one more here. 2.8 seconds to go, 12 for Ronnie Johnson.
And Ronnie Johnson's going to throw this off the rim, I think. I thought I saw Coach Painter telling him to line drive this. This is why, look at Kendall Stevens.
And a whistle and a timeout, Ohio State. Johnson deliberately gets the miss, hits the rim, out of bounds. It'll be Purdue ball. And the call is Purdue ball. One last shot in this ball game for a chance for the Boilermakers.
Watch the inbounder here, Kendall Stevens. After he throws the ball in, watch him go to the corner. Ohio State not even guarding him right now.
Stevens, the inbound, Johnson for three in the win, no good. And Ohio State hangs on, 63-61. The Buckeyes escape in the first round.
Man, tremendous battle down the stretch. Neither team able to gap the other. Great effort on both ends of the floor. Ohio State coming up with the victory. Pretty good look here. Nice screen by A.J. Hammonds. He gets a look at it. Just comes up a little short on the fade.
And disappointment for Matt Painter, and a little celebration for Thad Matta and the Buckeyes. They advance, as they have done so many times in the Big Ten tournament. The Buckeyes, now 24-8, move on to take on Nebraska tomorrow afternoon here in Indianapolis.